Welcome back. We are back. Teams still, those that are chasing, they still putting pressure, and those that are in the leadership, they keep holding or making their gap longer and more lengthy for those that are chasing not to be able to catch up. But this week, we see everything stays the same. Pressure still on, but it's on from game to game, and a Premier League that is on match day 28. We still see pressure being applied. We still see Arsenal running with it. And remember, Arsenal has an extra game played, while Manchester City does not have an extra game played. But we're going to dive into this straight. We're going to start with the Premier League, of course, as always, the best league out there when it comes to football. But for those that don't know, esto es pase ambidiestro, ambidextrous pass, fútbol honestamente, soccer football honestly. And we're going to start with the Premier League, a Premier League that keeps seeing Arsenal as the top and in the title race, is still leading. Arsenal strengthening their grip on the title race. This is the Premier League match day 28. Arsenal strengthening their grip on the title race over a vital win over Chelsea 2-1, maintaining the 5-point lead at the top. In the relegation battle, saw massive shifts in Wolves. Everton claimed crucial wins, while Tottenham free fall continued with 4 consecutive losses that left them really in 16th place, only a few points from relegation. And high scoring drama rounded out on the weekend, highlighted by Liverpool's 5 goal masterclass at Anfield and a chaotic 7-goal thriller between Burnley and Brentford. But we're going to dive into this. We're going to go straight into the Premier League that is on match day 28. A Premier League that started mainly with Wolverhampton against Aston Villa. Wolves that went 2-0. Bottom side, Wolves secured just their second win of the campaign through goals from Joao Gomez and Rodrigo Gomez. Despite the result, Wolves remained 20th place and in the standings. And though the victory provides a glimmer of hope for Wolves for the survival bid, of course, Aston Villa's top 4 aspirations suffered a blow, and they failed to capitalize on that 62% possession. Aston Villa dominated the game, but Wolves hit when it mattered. Wolves hit when it mattered, and this one goes as a blow, and something that we can learn from this in this Premier League. Wolves was the team that gave Arsenal a tie on that match they play ahead. Now you see Wolves that gives Aston Villa, who was in 3rd place, a loss. A 20th place team against a 3rd place team. That's just the Prem. Cannot be explained. That's just the Prem for you. And we see a Aston Villa that goes to 4th place, and in Wolverhampton that is still in 20th place, of course. But after that, we have a Bournemouth against a Sunderland, a game that ends up tie 1-1. And Evan Nielsen's second half equalizes rescue point for the Cherries after Mayenda had given the visitors an early lead. The draw was a fair reflection of a greedy encounter that saw both sides struggle to create clear-cut chances. Bournemouth is in the 10th place, and Sunderland moves up to 12th place, remaining 1 point ahead of a sliding Newcastle. Then we move on, and we have a Burnley against a Brentford. A Burnley that loses at home and a Brentford that wins 4-3. In a chaotic 7-goal thriller, you have at Turf Moor, Mikkel Damsgaard netted the dramatic 93rd minute winner for the Bees. And Burnley remarkably fought back from a 3-0 deficit to level the score to a 3-3 before the late heart attack. And the results lift Brentford to 7th place, while Burnley remains 19th place, second from bottom. Burnley seems like they will be seeing championship football next season. Same thing for Wolves. And it's kind of hard still for that 18th place West Ham, who they have the chance to get out, but it all comes down to how that 17th place keeps performing. And currently we have a Nottingham Forest who's in 17th place, and that keeps finding also kind of struggle. Now you have a new manager, but these three teams, West Ham, Burnley, and Wolves, there is a high chance these three teams will be seeing championship football. And it's just the Prem competition. It gets really hard by the time the last stretch of the season. Not a lot of points to take because some teams are in form and some teams are just not willing to let the opponent take a few. In football, the wins matter, and yeah, when you cannot win, you must tie, and when you cannot tie, you must lose. But nobody wants to lose, and if you don't like to lose, you're gonna go at least for a tie. But if you can win, why will you tie? Why will you settle for a tie? And that's just how football is. That's how football works. But these three teams, West Ham, Burnley, and Wolves, will most likely be seeing championship football next season. Moving on, we have a Liverpool against a West Ham United. A West Ham United. Liverpool that wins at home 5-2. Liverpool dominated the Hammers at Anfield with Cody Gakpo, who is close reaching his 50th goal for for Liverpool in all competitions, of course. And he was one of the players who scored for Liverpool. The high-scoring affair featured goals from Ekitiké, Van Dijk, McAllister, and Gakpo, of course, who is close to that milestone. Keeping the Reds firmly in the Champions League qualification spots in the 5th place, West Ham's defensive woes continue, leaving them stagnant in the 18th place. Then we move on to a Newcastle against an Everton that wins 3-2 against Newcastle. A Newcastle that played at home and loses as locals. Thierry Berry struck in the 83rd minute for a winner for Everton, just seconds after Newcastle had seemingly salvaged a point with a late equalizer. The defeat compounded a nightmare weekend for the Magpies, who tumbled to 13th place in the table. And Everton's search continues as they leapfrog several teams to sit comfortably in 8th place. Then moving on, we have a Leeds United against a Manchester City. A Manchester City that wins by the minimum 1-0. Antoine Semenyo struck the first half stoppage time was enough just to secure the 3 vital points. City managed an narrow victory despite the notable absence of Erling Haaland, who missed the trip to Elland Road. The win keeps Pep Guardiola's side within 5 points of the top, with a game in hand, of course, and in second place. While Leeds are 15th place, Leeds head coach Daniel Farke was shown a red card after he confronted the officials at the full time. For those that watch this game, he goes into the pitch and he started, confronting the official, and the official just was not having it, straight red, and now he'll be missing the next games from the sidelines. But this city seems to be finding a flow that identifies with Pep's theory of football and idea of football. The goal came from a great ball movement in rotation with a great pass from a great player, Turkey, a number 10, a midfielder slash attacker that finds the pockets, the spaces with vision. And this team in that goal, for those that watch this game, it comes from a really, really well developed movement with the ball and off the ball, and opens the game. A game that leads, played really compact and tried to be as organized as they could. And Manchester City is able to find the back of the net, but it had to come in precision movement with the ball and off the ball. And Semenyo adds another goal to his tally to reach 14 goals this season in the Premier League. And Erling Haaland was out of this game, of course, as we know, due to injury. But he will be back since it was nothing major. He will be back on the next game. But Manchester City are only 5 points from leaders Arsenal, who have played an extra game. That will all come to matter when these two teams meet, and who wins, who loses, who ties. But this Premier League at the moment still sees Arsenal at the top of the table as the leaders. Moving on, we have a Brighton against a Nottingham Forest. In this game, Brighton won 2-1 against Nottingham Forest. Brighton secured home victory with early strikes from Gomez and Welbeck, holding off his spirited second half comeback from Forest. Morgan Gibbs White converted for the visitors, but they could not find a lever and they remain in the 17th place. The Seagulls win. Moves them into the 14th place, further distancing themselves from the drop. Then moving on, we have a Fulham against a Tottenham Hotspur. Against a Tottenham. A team that has been struggling. But in this game, Harry Wilson and Alex Iwobi guided Fulham to a victory that deepened the crisis at Tottenham, who have now lost 4 consecutive league matches. Spurs are winless in 9 games and currently sit 16th, hovering dangerously close to the relegation zone. And Richardson consolation goal did a little just to mask the performance described as apathetic, of course. Very static, very. There's no much to say. But a Fulham that is in the ninth place and a Tottenham that is 4 points from the relegation zone, sitting in the 16th place. Harry Wilson has been a key midfielder for Fulham, recording 8-9 goals and 5-6 assists across all competitions, primarily in the Premier League, of course. And for Tottenham, they have 13 games without winning, 4 consecutive games losing. Where is this team heading? When they are at the bottom of the table, what is the purpose at this point? The purpose is not to keep dropping points, to pick up every point that you can pick up so you do not fall into that red zone category. That's the whole point at this time. And yes, you might feel like, what's the point of playing? We're just scrapping. Do you want to go to second division? I mean, some players might not care because when that happens, clubs usually sell the players, try to get any assets they can from selling. But you're a professional player. If you're already in the position that you are with your current club, the best you can do is get out from that red zone, at least for the sake of the club, because it's your job. Not because of the sake of you being a player and you wanting to play better football than you've been playing this season. But Tottenham keeps a dark cloud over their heads and over themselves in general. You can tell that the players are not convinced. The players are not convinced at all when they play. They don't convince. As a watcher, I'm not convinced either. They don't convince themselves. The watchers, the fans, they're not convinced either. They see these. They see these clear that Tottenham is not convinced. The players are not convinced to play the best they can play. There is like a mentality problem at the club. There's a mentality problem. There's an energy problem when Tottenham plays at the same time. So you have a dark cloud over you. Your actions don't put you in the best situation. And on top of that, you come with a low mentality and low energy. That will not put you in a great situation to deal with. But Tottenham finds themselves right now at this. And yes, they're in the 16th place. What's the point of the season at this point? Is scrap every point you can scrap. Again, do it for the sake of the club. Or at least do it for the sake of you being a player. To just do as you can to just not let this team sink. The team does not convince. The players are not there. The mentality is low and the energy is not being put in. And sadly, you have to see Tudor deal with this situation. You have to see him deal with this situation. He's realizing that the players are not mentally there and the energy is not there at all. And sadly, you have to see Tudor deal with this. But Tottenham needs to scrap every point they can at this moment so they can get out of the relegation zone. Because they are most likely heading that way, then they are most likely getting out of there. They have not been able to win in 13 games and they have 4 consecutive losses. Tottenham is heading towards the relegation zone. But moving on, we have a Manchester United against a Crystal Palace. A Manchester United that wins at home against Crystal Palace 2-1, of course. A Manchester United that overcame an early deficit to defeat the 10-man Palace side with Bruno Fernandes and Benjamin Sesko providing the goals. Maxence Lacroix had put the visitors ahead before a red card changed the complexion of the game at Old Trafford. The Red Devils remain in the hunt for top 4. At the moment, they are in 3rd place due to the goal difference from Villa as the season enters its final stretch. Bruno keeps on assisting, reaching his 100th assist for Manchester United. And this season, Bruno has had now 13 assists, 7 goals, which is a total of a goal and assist contribution of 20. So he has been putting up numbers. He has been trying to make a change, make a difference for this Manchester United so they can keep climbing up and at least see some European football the next season. But while you see these goals and everything, Bruno and Šeško have been building some kind of bond. Bruno has been assisting Šeško and Šeško has been scoring. And Šeško has been giving important goals and picking a bit of rhythm with 4 goals in his last 5 matches. So that's great for Šeško. And something people have been asking is, Šeško start? Šeško start? Šeško started, Šeško scored. He had a few more opportunities, but in this game, you can see that he's trying to add more danger in that central position, attacking, trying to get himself in the space. And you give him more time only gets him more comfortable with the game and his game in general. But 4 goals in his last 5 matches, not bad. He has been the one who has been scoring some important goals for Man United. So yes, he does kind of deserve the starting spot. He's a young guy, so he should be playing in this game. You can see why he should be playing and why he started. Results are being given. There's no discussion for why such players should not start. But this Man United, they're in a great run with Carrick. Let's not take that away from them, of course. But in this game, as we see for those that watch the game, the foul on Cunha draws a penalty for Manchester United, the first goal, but it is a very, very soft call, if you ask me. And VAR needs to do a better job. But this is why VAR becomes very contradicting because due to the calls like this one, when there's harsh fouls, at times they turn the other way. So it just contradicts the situation. For me, yes, it was a foul, but not to the point where Cunha dragged it all the way inside to a penalty. But again, the rules are there. Every official interprets the rules different when it comes to judgment. So that's just how the game works. It's part of the human error, but it's just hypocritical sometimes, if you can say that. Shishko also shows that every time he scores, his qualities are as a center forward. They shine, and he shows those qualities. Every single goal he has scored um, has showed some type of quality that he has. And personally, I believe that he's really strong, and he can get himself in areas where fighting for the ball for him is kind of normal. He's of course tall. He has the height, but more than anything, he fights for the ball. He tries to get himself in front of the ball, and he tries to not let the defenders be as comfortable around him. And he's challenging in general. He is challenging. I believe he will give some great years to Man United if he keeps playing, and if he keeps going on the rhythm. Because if you pick up from this rhythm, you can only get better. Yes, you might go on a drought, just like Erling Haaland, 1, 2 games, 3 games. But when you score, you're scoring great goals or scoring a lot of goals. So that's something to look at and keep track on this guy, Sheshko. Then moving on, we have the last game of this Premier League match day 28, which is Arsenal against Chelsea. A Chelsea that loses 2-1, and Arsenal that wins at home. This game had goals from Saliba and Jurrien Timber to ensure Arsenal maintained their 5-point lead at the summit of the Premier League. Chelsea's afternoon soared when Pedro Neto was sent off. Though they nearly snatched the draw when the late Liam Delap goal was ruled out offside, and David Raya preserved the win with a stunning stoppage time save, of course. Props to Raya. A Raya that has been playing important football, important role for this Arsenal and for the type of football Arsenal is playing currently this season. Raya has been a huge reason why Arsenal is where they are at the moment. And this can be said to all Arsenal fans. You are where you are, thankfully, to such acts from Raya. Every game he does something to prevent and to make sure Arsenal walks away with the wins that are needed. And if you ask, I believe Raya is going to win the Golden Glove in this Premier League 25-26 season because he has the most clean sheets, and at the end he is the goalkeeper with less goals scored on because he keeps trying, he keeps pushing. So is due. Raya is a great goalkeeper, great Spanish goalkeeper, and personally, I think Spain, they don't have any issues to look around. They have great candidates, and he's top three at least. Top two, I'll say, but top three at least. And at the same time, a Chelsea that is in the A, of course, Arsenal that is in the first place, no duh. And we have a Chelsea that is currently in the sixth place with 45 points. But Chelsea gets their 10th red card of the season. And there is some type of behavioral problem to a degree. But they have been getting the most red cards this season. Neto, of course, was the one who got the red card in this game and left Chelsea once again with 10 men. And at the same time, the new manager for Chelsea, Restaurant, he has had 3 losses only. And those 3 losses have been with Arsenal. Those 3 losses have come with the same exact team. All I can say to that situation is it's pretty clear who you got to beat if you really want to compete in this Premier League. You must beat the leader at the moment. If you can be the leader, you can play against anybody else, but this is the Prem. You shall be surprised once in a while. But for Arsenal, you must beat Arsenal to be able to compete in this Premier League. But that's all for the Premier League. Premier League, that English football in general, the Premier League, of course, has become a stagnantly strategic and taking away the nature of the players for the technicality of the game, making players so robotic and make the game look more static. Long throw is running the game. The corner set pieces are running the game. And yes, it works, but the game looks really static and forceful to the movements. You try to, in a sense of what I mean forceful to the movements, is you try to push for a certain call, which you want a corner. Why? Because you know that the corner can do this for your advantage and you can score a goal from it. But you can tell when certain teams are playing and trying to play for a throw in and things like that, that just make the movement of the game where it's moving is towards a forceful type of thing. And yes, it's part of strategies, but it's taking away a lot of that nature of the players because they want to fulfill the technical strategy. And football is only becoming more robotic. It got to a point where you were letting the players' talent speak. Then coaches, apply their theory of how a player should do in certain positions or act or play. And at that point, football was still football, but now we have a stagnant game that is literally being played with long throws and set pieces. And yes, these are all parts of the game, but it's becoming really stagnant, taking away that nature of what the game really is. And as we see in this Arsenal Chelsea, that's exactly what happened. All the goals came from set pieces. We do not see open play determine these games anymore. Games that are of high leverage, high teams, abundance of technicality, you don't see that these games are being defined by open play anymore. You see the set piece take a huge determination in these games. And I mean, yes, a win is a win, but it's turning the game bland and really stagnant, which yes, the strategy is still being applied, but really stagnant, killing the nature of the players and making the game more robotic. But that's what it is. Game does change, but how far will the managers, the fans, the players let it change? New things have to be applied. New things have to be found so a game becomes better. But to the point that players are performing as machines kills that nature of what we grew up with. But in this Premier League Matchday 28, we see an Arsenal that solidified their championship credentials by grinding out a 2-1 victory over Chelsea, successfully maintaining their 5 point lead at the top of the table. And it was a weekend of contrasting fortunes in London as Tottenham alarming slide continued with fourth consecutive defeat that left them reeling in 16th place. And goal hungry fans were treated to high octane a high octane drama at Anfield, of course, and Turf Moor, where Liverpool and Brentford emerged victorious from respective 5 and 7 goal thriller. At the bottom of the standings, vital wins for Wolves and Everton have effectively reset the survival stakes, turning the relegation battle into a wide open dogfight. And finally, Manchester United's clinical comebacks against Crystal Palace saw the climb into the top three, punctuating a match they defined by significant shifts of both ends of the league. So some move in the middle, some get away from the bottom, and some move on to the top. That's what the Premier League is at the moment. But this Premier League, I believe, will come down to the head-to-head against Manchester United and Arsenal. And it will come down to if Arsenal ties any more games. Or if they lose one more. This is match day 28. There's technically 10 more match days left. But in reality, there's only 9 left for Arsenal. Yes. But that's all for this Premier League. The Premier League that is on match day 28. A Premier League that we will be seeing more games during the week. Midweek, there will be match day 29th being played in the Premier League. Esto es todo por hoy. Esto es Pase Ambidiestro, Ambidextrous Pass, Fútbol Honestamente, Soccer, Football Honestly. And thank you for all those being here with me. Please like and subscribe if you like the content. Have a great day. Thank you.